evening, UK Crime Book Club. That countdown normally takes so much longer. I am joined by Malcolm Hollingdrake, who I can't escape at the moment, not that we're trying to. You are everywhere that I am at the moment. So would you like to introduce yourself, tell everybody a bit about both of your series, show off any books if you've got them with you, because I forgot to ask you to bring them.
I had one or two. Yeah, my name is Malcolm Hollingdrake. I write a series set in Harrogate. The 12th book has been finished. It should be out in August. I write another series set in Merseyside, which is published by Hollingdrake Books. I've written a standalone called Bridging the Gulf, and I have a collection of short stories. But also, I'm quite proud that I get a number of books or short stories added to anthologies, and this is the one I'm really proud of that it was included, because the audio book of this is absolutely outstanding. I love it. So that's me in a nutshell, really.
And I managed to tag everyone that I needed to tag and pin just in time. I
Thank
can
you.
multitask today. Who knew? Excuse me.
Certainly.
So we're both a bit off colour today, but we'll muddle through it together, won't we?
We're professionals.
Absolutely. So you've got lots of things coming up. So hello, everyone that's starting to say hello. So we've got hello both. I'm not sure who that's from, but I'll have a quick look on my phone. And Tony Millington. Hello, lovely Tony.
Hi, Tony.
Hello.
Aga's here as well. That's lovely.
So are you
Aga
going to actual Harrogate on the weekend?
Am I going?
Yes.
I'm there on the Thursday. I'm giving a talk to a group of readers in the afternoon. I'm meeting Kurt Hasler at lunchtime, and then in the evening I'm meeting Linda Checkley and Donna Morford for dinner.
How
but
lovely.
Then I go home. On principle, really, because I just totally disagree that they charge to walk through the gate of the Old Swan Hotel.
There's been a lot of debate about it.
It's a disgrace. That was part of the charm, I think, for a lot of people, that they could go and interact with writers, with publishers in an informal setting. You also had the opportunity to go to the panels. And some people chose to do that. Some people just sought to linger and loiter and have a good laugh. And it became a sort of pilgrimage, really, for many people. But as soon as you start to tag it, and I understand why they did it last year because of COVID.
Yeah.
And the cynical of us said, next year they're going to do it again because it's going to bring in the money. And they have. So, being a person of principle, I decided that I wasn't going to pay £10 a day to go and pay for very expensive alcohol and to sit 100 yards from where I could sit for free. So I decided not to do it.
Fair enough.
I will not do it until they take that ridiculous charge away.
We've got some more hellos here as well. Tony Ford, Laura Hamilton, Aggie, Donna.
Hi, Tony.
Hi, Donna.
Hi, Donna.
Do you want to explain the Teasy? Because you explained it to me at Wigan. So do you want to explain the nickname Teasy?
Oh, Teasy, right.
Weezy?
Yes, my good friend Donna Morford calls me Teasy Weezy. And if you know your history of hairdressing, there was a gentleman called Teasy Weezy who used to be a hairdresser. And every time when Donna was doing her degree, she used to contact me and say, could you help me with this? And I'm sure she was tongue-in-cheek. So I used to say, I'm sorry, but I'm washing my hair. So then I mentioned Teasy Weezy. So from that point, I became known as Teasy. I do.
We need to come up. Yeah, we need to come up with a nickname for Donna as well. Then.
Oh, I don't worry.
Maybe you can be Teasy and Donna can be Weezy.
Weezy, yeah.
Yes. And have one of each.
Thank you for joining us, everybody there. That's very kind of you.
So let's start with the event in Wigan, because I got to meet you and the gorgeous Debbie in person.
Thank you.
We had a lovely day. That a lot of authors. A really nice moment when Dan McBreakneck, who organised the event, stood up at the front and said, any members of the UK Crime Book Club on Facebook here, and almost everybody in the audience put their hand up. And that moment kind of, I think that's when some of the panic in me died a bit. It kind of softened it because I thought, how lovely that people that you become friends with online become really important parts of your life and go to different events and do different things together. It's such a lovely group.
I think you're right, and I think the venue is an outstanding venue.
Mm, yeah,
It's been brought back to life, really. If they hadn't taken it on, it would become derelict.
yeah.
And now it's such a vital part of the town centre. And it's not only that, it's beginning to spread further into the theatre, into the Wigan Pier itself. And Johnny Davenport is really quite inspirational. So
Mm.
I compliment him. But I also compliment Dan because I thought he organised a very, very good event.
It was very smoothly done.
No, it was fantastic.
Yeah,
You couldn't wish for better. And he got a really good selection of authors, and they all seemed to gel very, very well.
yeah,
And when you saw the afternoon, it seemed, oh, it's a long afternoon, but it seemed to fly. So it was perfectly organised, and my compliments to him. I thought he did a great job. And I'm only sad that he keeps saying I'm not doing another one of those. But
mm.
hard work, believe me.
Yeah. Catch 22. It's a lot of work and it's a lot of fun, but committing to that on a regular basis is a big deal when you've got a full-time job as well. So I understand why he doesn't want to do anything else just yet. But maybe
The worry is,
we'll tempt him in the future, I'm sure.
well, I hope you do. The worry is, and
Dan's here. We're talking about him and he's here. Hi, Dan.
is it there? Hi,
He
Dan.
is.
Well done. I thought it was a fantastic event. And I also think, and I think I appreciate what Dan worries sometimes because on the day you don't know who's going to be there and who's not. Not only in the audience, but you only have some problem for an author, and you're an author down, two authors down. The whole thing can go very pear shaped, and right up until the point where it's lights, camera, action, you
Mm.
are on tenterhooks. So I have nothing but praise for the event and the way that it was organised and the interaction of everybody who was there. So it was super.
I did. I loved the whole thing. I thought the way that each chat was followed by a brief, interlude and a is interlude the word I mean? This is
Yeah,
what I mean
yeah,
today.
intermission. It was,
Intermission, thank you. That's what I was going
yes,
for. Either's fine. And with the book signings, and then people getting to talk to the authors and have the photos taken and get books signed, and yeah, it was really lovely. So
and having Waterstones involved took a lot of authors to bring books in and things. That was also a real pleasure. Yeah,
yeah, and they did sell hundreds of pounds worth of books on the day.
that's good. And they'll do it
And
again.
yeah, most of the books went. Most of the books that were there, they started off with a huge pile and two staff members, and by the end there was barely anything left, which is always
That was
wonderful.
that was great. And I think if you can get a commercial business like that involved, and they see that it is profitable for them to do that, then you can then lift it again the following year, and you learn from what you think were issues for you as an organizer of
Mm.
for the event itself, and just take it a step, another step at a time. And I would certainly hope Dan would think again and say, I'll do it, I'll have another go, and I'll happily help if I can.
And what's the other thing that's really nice is me and Dan's mum have developed a nice friendship as
Oh,
well.
that's lovely.
She often messages about different things that are going on and interviews, and yeah. So hello, Marie. Um, excuse me. Oh, Donna saying, I got to hug you, Sam. That was my favourite thing. I thought the night you had with Malcolm and Debbie was your favourite thing. But yeah, the hug was lovely. I didn't get to go down and see Donna until, because obviously we'd never met before. I didn't get to go and see her until, I don't know if it was after my first or second interview. I'm not sure. I know it was during one of the breaks I went to find her. And it was the biggest hug anybody's ever given me in my entire life. And there's a really nice photo of us from it as well. So yeah,
That's lovely.
I'll find that. I didn't end up. Everybody else shared the photos, and I hadn't taken any on my own phone because we
Right.
were just having so much fun on the day that my camera's rubbish. So I did keep nicking Kazzy's phone to take photos on that. There's some really
Well,
nice pictures.
I've got quite a few from Gary Barton who took them, and if you need, I can file them and send them to you. But some great
I would love
author shots,
that. Yeah,
great
thank
author
you.
shots, and some
Yeah, I've
good ones
seen
of
some
you
of
as
them. I
well,
did go and
chatting
have a
at the front
look.
with your friends in front of the stage. I thought that was nice.
Yeah, my friend Hayley came up from Manchester as well for the day. So I went and sat with her during Kaz and Mike Reagan's interview at the end. So finally got to see Hayley as well because we go to a crime event in Manchester every month together.
Right.
Rob Parker runs Crime Central at Manchester Central Library. So for anyone who's interested, crime-central.co.uk, tickets for next month are up. And I think it's about £6. It's it's a brilliant event, and we go to the pub afterwards. So it's a really nice night. I get to meet lots of people, and Rob's a brilliant interviewer and entertainer. He's just always on form. So yeah, it's really lovely. But we're really here to talk about the Damascene moment, which I'm dying to read.
Ah, right. I think I froze, but never mind.
No, you're fine on
Um,
mine.
am I
How
fine?
I'm
Oh,
sure
yeah.
everybody will let us know if it goes, if we
Pear shape.
freeze. Yeah, pear shaped. Thank you. Like my words and sentences that aren't working. Go on, take
Okay.
over, please.
The Damascene moment. First of all, I was delighted with the cover. I was searching for another smoke image, and these came from Total Links. Right at the beginning of when I did this reissued the series, and so it's having a new one for every book. And ironically, this is the same image that was on the very first book, but adjusted.
Mm.
And I just thought it fit in with the idea of the story. So I produced a number of author copies. I think I've produced 12 this time to go out to beta readers, and I've had some really positive comments back from beta readers. So I thank you very much if you're reading it or read it. It's very much appreciated. Because still, even though I've written now 15 books, 14 books, I still find it very frightening sending them out and then waiting. And you wait.
Really?
Do they like it? Are they going to find it too similar? Um, so to get the 5 star positive response, it just fills me with enthusiasm again to start all over again and write. So this one is again quite different because Owen now has a young child. The fact that young ladies, young women go missing too. They find one in a very strange circumstance, and then the other. And it really does affect Owen psychologically. That children, what people who were loved by parents can be taken, and it doesn't affect the way he works, but he takes responsibility for one of the missing, while as the other detective takes the other, and then they begin to work together once they realise that it's the same person who's taken them. And this has come from a fascination I have. What makes people go from being possibly normal, like you and me, into a killer? And I did some research, and 91% of men think of killing somebody at some stage in their life, whereas
Did you have to
84,
look directly at me and lean forward as you said that?
yeah, well, while 84% of women think of killing somebody, but there is a subtle difference.
Yeah.
The women think about killing somebody for only a few seconds. Men plan and plot the process. And I found that quite fascinating. And especially with being a teacher, that you see children in different light and you wonder how their home background will affect them. Will it have a long term effect? Will it just have a short term effect? Will
Mm.
some overcome the difficulties that they have, or will some allow it to build from a foundation of poor upbringing to become possibly a killer?
Sorry, you seem to be breaking up a little bit,
Am I
Malcolm. Try
right?
again.
I will just let me just mic and I'll put the mic back on. How's that?
Better, much better.
Okay. So that has been a fascination for the writing of this particular book. That where people, what is the tipping point where people will suddenly say, "I'm going to do this. I'm going to take a life. I'm going to plot and plan," and thoroughly enjoyed it. Only killed two.
It's very strange though, isn't it? Because plotting it for a book, you must put so much thought, time, and energy into the actual plan with no actual desire, I hope, to go through with it. So
Not at all.
it's a very yeah, it's a very disturbing percentage of people that have thought about it and gone on to act it out.
Within the research, the people who tend to kill more than once, um, they've discovered that when people have said, "Oh, did you know your neighbour has killed?" They said, "You know what? That person we used to have looking after our children when we went to the theatre, he was such a normal person." And that is again, you often see that they're just normal kids. I'm sure these kids who go in and shoot in theatres and the
Mm,
fortnight before they were considered normal, and it's only once they cross that line
yeah.
did they become evil or evil in the eyes of the public. So it's what triggers that crossing of a line, and I don't know what it is.
Was there something that you found out that was a big trigger for people, or was there kind of a certain age group, or was there anything kind of definitive in the research that you found?
Revenge is a large percentage of crime. Stress in human beings, particularly with the pressure that we have over the last 2 years. That reluctance to go out, that fear of going out, that fear of an unknown, can
Mm,
also be a catalyst. But I think stress is a killer. I think it really does affect people in a long term. But, but it's how kids are brought up that fascinate me. Really is. Because you can think of children could be institutionalized from a very early age.
mm.
As being in a school, you might see that too.
We'll talk later. Holbeck Towers are watching, so we must have Adrian
Hello,
and Rebecca if we've
Vectors.
got the towers. So hello, lovely to have you here.
Thank you. It is
I'm
indeed.
hoping that your sound is better for everybody now. I know it is for me, so
I hope
we
so.
will.
If need be, I can get you a mic and things.
I'm sure we'll be fine.
Right.
Donna saying, didn't I tell you that when I came up? Now that comment came on while you were talking about murder and people planning murder. So Donna, what are you up to? I dread to think. Um, if I wondered if there are any of your books, any of the murders in particular, that you hear a response more about than some of the others, the ones that people find really controversial or, to be honest, a bit grim. So
Mellification.
for me, hat pin and is it game point with the hat pin?
Yeah. Yeah, the hat
Oh,
pin, game points.
nope.
That was quite hard to write. Um,
Good. I'm glad
I,
it was hard to write.
I
It was very
find
difficult to read.
I find the actual killing bit is difficult, and you have to come to the writing, do a bit, come away, come back, read it. it you don't want it too gratuitous. You want it effective for the story, and that in was quite hard, particularly because she was blindfolded girl and hadn't a clue what was happening. So when she felt the pin touch the eye, and then just that,
I knew
you
you were going to make a noise with it.
know. But the strangest one was mellification, where they were fed honey until they died. Quite bizarre. But it's actually a fact in China. Mellification was done as a form of um, producing medicine.
We've got somebody asking, can we have more on Audible, please, please in capital letters. So this is where we find out where you and Adrian are up to. Is Adrian reading
Ah,
those?
yes, Adrian's doing Sin.
That was
So
Pat
yes,
Myers.
pardon?
That was
That
Pat
was Pat
Myers. Hi,
Myers.
Pat. Hi, Pat.
Hiya, Pat. Um, I spoke to Holbeck yesterday, to Rebecca, specifically to find this out because I wanted to be able to mention it. And it's going to be ready in autumn. So looking forward to that very much indeed. Love the first one that Adrian did.
He's
Seems to be
terrific.
going well. And again, I'm fascinated by narrators. And that's why we have one coming to the Noir at the Harrogate Library in September. Greg Patmore's coming over,
Yeah,
and
so
he's
tell
going
us
to read.
more about Greg Patmore.
Greg Patmore is a Wigan. He lived in Wigan. I met him at one of the noirs we did, and I so the Emma and Martin Truelove, who are going to host. I said, "Is there any author you would like to try and get hold of for the noir?" And she said, "I'd love if you could get hold of Jason Dalgleish." So I contacted Jason and said, "Will you be prepared to come up?" Because as Dan knows, you can't afford to pay these people. And now with petrol the price it is, you're trying to say, could you come all the way from Norfolk to Harrogate? I can't pay you. You'll be on stage for 25 minutes and a bit more, maybe. Um, and when he sold enough books, probably not to go to Harrogate. And he said yes.
So does
And Greg
Jason
Pat,
write as J.M. Dalgleish, is that right?
correct, yeah,
Yeah,
correct,
okay.
yeah. And Greg Patmore narrates his books. So it was rather, it was perfect, really.
Yeah.
And when I said to him, would you narrate? Because I asked the readers, they asked the writers, sorry, if they would talk for 20 minutes with Emma and then read for 5. And they all said yes. And then I said, if you want Greg to narrate your particular book, he gladly will. So I know R.C. Bridgestock have asked me if he'll read. I would imagine Jason will, and Mr. Hyde, he said he would do that. But Greg has a specific request that you only have 800 words because you have to pace it correctly. It's got a wonderful voice. It's got a great narrating voice. So we'll have two there because we'll have Adrian there as well. So he'll be in the audience watching and listening as well. So I hope he will ask some questions too on that particular subject because it is a very difficult subject.
I know
I
when
think
you read, sorry, go on.
I was just going to say anybody who can sit in a booth and read it for 8 hours needs a medal.
Yeah, absolutely. I know that we always get a lot of great feedback when you send me a reading that we share in the group.
That's very kind.
Yeah, it always goes down really well. So is it yeah, Donna that said, I want you to do your own. I'd listen to you read the phone book. You do have one of those smooth voices, but I can't imagine the damage it must do to vocal cords to sit for 8 hours. I think I'd lose my
That's right.
voice. I don't have
I
strong
think
vocal cords at all.
I don't think they sit for that length of time. I think pace it and then patch it together. And when I was speaking to Nick Cam, who narrated the Harrogate series, he said, if I make a mistake, I just read the sentence again and then carry on. And then I patch it because you've kept the same voice tone through that. But Nick Cam was perfect. And I can remember a lovely story. When those were going to be done, I was told that I would have a saying who was the voice of Cyril Bennett because it was in my head. I'd written them and I knew what he sounded like. And the first time I heard it was when I actually buy the first audio book. I didn't get one sent. I actually bought it and I was really nervous about listening to it. And as soon as I heard the first few words of Cyril narrated by Nick Cam, he just cracked it. It was absolutely fabulous. I was thrilled. And that's why I said to you, with everyday kindness, if anybody can get the audiobook of that, some of the narrators in there, Jonathan Keeble reads mine, and it's a proud moment, really proud moment.
There must be lots of proud moments for you. I mean, you've been doing this for a while now. You've got two
Yeah.
series, and I am going to ask you about standalones and the idea of any further standalones. Obviously, we've got Bridging the Gulf. which I want to get it down and show it because it's such a gorgeous
Everything will
cover.
fall.
But do I dare? Do I dare touch it?
Oh, I'll get one. I think I've got one.
You think you've got one? That would be much better.
Bear with me. He said wobbling around.
See, I'm learning to put them somewhere where I won't knock them over and then just sit still so that I don't.
Yes. Am I anywhere near that?
You need to do the whole in front of your face and then slide to the side of your head thing.
Oh, well done. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Bridging the Gulf, the first book.
Gorgeous cover.
Anybody going to Cyprus, this is the perfect book for it because it's set in the northern part of Cyprus. But I love, again, close to my heart, the first book I wrote. So, yes, proud of it.
You should be proud because it's such a difficult topic. Somebody has asked a question that I'll go to in a moment, but it's such a difficult topic to write about a soldier effectively using their training for what they believe is a good purpose, but is causing themselves and so many other people so much, trauma. It's such an emotional book.
The sad thing was that he actually destroyed the wonderful relationship he had with his wife. And I suppose in anything you do what you believe is right at that time, and he did. And obviously his mental and his emotional state didn't allow him that clarity of thought that maybe he should have had. But he had a very good friend, who tried to guide him and then supported his wife throughout the problem. But I think in the end she understood why he'd done it. And I don't think he did it with any sort of malice to cause death. He did it to draw attention to the plight of those who couldn't speak for themselves. So honourable in some ways, but totally criminal in another.
Yeah.
But writing the settings are such a beautiful place. The castles, Tyrrhenia, Augusta, Nicosia. It gave a great deal of pleasure in bringing those back to life because I'd lived in Northern Cyprus for 3 years in the 80s, and then again we bought a house over there and lived sort of holidaying life. A little did I know that Martina Cole was just round the corner. I don't know, I'd have plagued her. But no,
I didn't know that either.
Stunning. She lived in Belapé and I lived in Kami, which is just either side of Kyrenia, but a lovely place. So it was great to bring it to life.
Donna's asking, would you write about your time in Egypt?
Yes, I would. Egypt was a place I felt totally at home. We lived in a mud house on the Saqqara Road, which was attached to an arts centre called the Wisawasif Arts Centre. And that's where I learned to start making stained glass. And they used to weave, and children, very young, used to have a little loom, and their parents would weave and throw them pieces of wool, and they would then just put them together on the floor. And as they got older, they would make their own tapestries. And none of the tapestries, they used to make tapestries like I write books. I sit down and write. They sat down and started to weave, and whatever picture came, and they worked on the side, so the image came side on. And what fascinated me more than anything was they produced underwater scenes, and none of them had been to the coast. That is fascinating.
Wow.
So if you ever get the chance to look at Wisawasif art and tapestries, if Rebecca's listening, Rebecca, you should look at these. They're absolutely wonderful. And Wisawasif is, I think, a non-profit making, and they pay their weavers whatever the tapestries are worth. And they do their own dyeing, their own wool process. It's just magnificent. So that's there's a lot to write about.
Karen Taylor asked, what moved you to write this kind of book, so about the Damascene moment, social issues, or a love of the genre? It's a really good question,
Both.
Karen.
A cocktail of both, really. I think. I think with being a teacher for so long, there'd been something nagging at me about, and I think I touched on it in previous books, but it was such a strong drive that I wanted to include it in this one. And you collect all of these experiences throughout life, and then you put them together bit by bit. You build like Lego bricks, and this seemed to come very, very easily. So I hope it is where it gives people food for thought. Um, but it's a crime, and it's fiction, and that's what you've got to remember. But
Yeah.
hopefully, speaking of tapestries, I try to weave fact with fiction um, to make it real, and so hopefully I've been successful.
So going on to the question that I was going to ask earlier, standalones. Any plans for
No,
further standalones?
not at the minute. I've got book 3 to write for Hollingdrake, which I'm looking forward to.
I have actually got those to one side now, I think.
Have
Let's
you got
see.
those? Yes, you have. Thank you, Sam. Yes. So catch as
So
catch can.
is book 1. See, now I can't do it either. Catch as Catch Can is book 1. And then we've got Sin. I'm going the wrong way. I think I'll be used to this by now.
Brilliant. That's
I'm
brilliant.
just disoriented today.
That's brilliant.
And
So,
we do have to zoom in on this
oh,
guy
that's my
every
scarecrow.
time.
Yes,
Yeah, love that.
he's still there actually. He's in. I saw him on Sunday.
I'm not putting them back. I'm going to put them at the side of me. I feel like I've pushed my luck a bit too much there.
But no, the thing is,
Excuse me.
when I decided to write the Damascene because I'd written the pre-book event, and I had to stay in the mindset of that team. So if I break off and do the next Merseyside, I've then got to get to head back into Merseyside and then come back out. And it's so easy to get confused. It is for me anyway, at my age. And so I thought, I'll do book 12 and then reread Sin, or I'll probably listen to Adrian narrate them while I'm out and about to get back into the mood of Merseyside. And also into the characters, trying to get into the shoes of the characters. And then start with that. And there's no urgency. I mean, Holbeck have got lots of books coming out, so they're not hanging on mine. And also we've got Sin coming out, so let's hope that they'll be happy with that, and then we'll do that. But I like writing short stories. I'd love to do more short story work. Maybe I'd narrate those as well. I don't know. They're easier to narrate, aren't they?
Absolutely, yeah. Aggie has said that's why you mentioned stained glass in your new series, because obviously, I mean, I've seen some that you've made. Haven't you got some at home that I've seen pictures of?
I've made a lot. I've made some that have gone to Cyprus, some have gone to France. I got quite a few commissions at one time, and I used to love doing it. The problem was I can't put them on. You put them on water, and of course, if you cut yourself with water, you bleed like crazy. Well, no matter how good you are at stained glass, you still cut yourself on the glass that you're making. And I used to be full of blood. I used to put rubber glove on to stop the blood going on, and then it would start coming out from the top of the glove. So I'd put another glove on top of that. When I came out, it looked as though I'd been in a butcher's shop. But the glass is great. So yes, that's where it all started.
For a woman who knocks books on her head on a regular basis, I don't think glass work is for me. Can you imagine the carnage and the chaos? Oh my word! I did quite fancy glass blowing. Me and my eldest daughter were watching. I can't remember what it was called, but it was on Netflix, and it was a series where people competed and had to. They were given a task each week and had to do different glass blowing. So I did look to see if there was somewhere that I could go with my daughter for a birthday to do it. Probably a good idea that we couldn't. I might not have eyebrows left. I certainly wouldn't have fingertips. Certainly wouldn't have fingertips. I'd be excellent on a bank job. But no,
You should
I
have
think
gone.
dreadful.
You should have gone.
This is too hot for me. Can you imagine me?
Yeah, yes. asbestos suit and everything, you know. Yeah.
Oh, the horror. No, we've got a question from Laura. Oh, it's not a question, just a comment. Could swear I've got a copy of Everyday Kindness somewhere in the TBR. Got it when it was released, as Louise Jensen is also a contributor. Now I've got it, and I have to admit I haven't read it yet because we read so much for the interviews that
Yes.
I don't even try and control my reading list anymore. It took me,
I can understand, and it's a pretty weighty tome, isn't it, when you think about it? But it's for a great cause. But if anybody really just wants to travel over the summer, the audio book is just fantastic. It's got so many top quality narrators that Will Dean's story is brilliant. But one of my favourites, and I can't think of his name, was it I actually sent him a message, J.D. Kirk, and it was
oh
called
yeah,
Nothing Much to Look At. Oh, what a fabulous story. And it's stunningly narrated. So I sent him a message to say, not only was the narration good, but a fabulous piece of writing.
his latest Hoon book is out. I know he shared a post today in the book group, and there's some people who have already finished it. You know, they got it yesterday and have just sat and read it in one go. I used to love being able to do that. It's not quite as easy when you've got a schedule, is it?
No.
But I do
Yeah,
often sit and just read a book all the way through in a day and barely move from the
never done
couch
that.
as I do so.
Never done that in my life.
But you're not a big reader, are
But I've
you?
never been a reader. No, I've never been a reader. I'm a bit like Rob Ashman. I remember sitting at a noir event on a panel, and this audience member said to Rob, um, "What's your favourite reads?" And Rob looked and said, "I don't read." So the guy
Yeah, I
turned
wasn't
around
going
to
to
me
ask
and
you what you
said,
were reading.
"And what is your favourite?" And I just looked at Rob and looked back out. And, I'm the same. You know, I just prefer writing. I will read, and I love audiobooks. Um, but if you gave me the choice between picking up the pen and writing or picking up a book and reading, it had to be the writing.
Excuse me. I've actually come up with I wasn't going to say this. I was just going to wait for people to read it once I actually ever write it. But I have come up with a combination of a character name involving part of Rob's name and part of one of his characters that I'm going to use in one of my books because I just there's a book of his that I raved about, and I'm really sad that he's not writing. But I'm really glad that he's happy and him and Karen are off doing wonderful things and having a nice time, and that's marvelous. You know, you can't expect people to give up a joyous time just because you want another blooming book. But
No.
but Killing Pretties, what a book!
Oh,
Did you ever
again,
read it?
uh, it's funny because I was involved with Rob when he was writing that, and he kept sending me sort of these teasers and messages. And I'm still in touch with Rob, and we still go out occasionally, which is lovely. And I understand why he stopped.
Yeah,
You, it's hard. It's hard work, and the rewards aren't what people think they
yeah,
are. The pleasure comes from receiving reviews, from doing something like this, from speaking to the readers who obviously enjoy your work, uh, and it's flattering and it's humbling, and I like that. But it's the sitting down process that I like. So if I never published a book again, I'd still write, I'd still
mm,
doodle in books and write. The hardest thing is getting it in front of people. So even if you have so many books out, and I know I listen to Holbeck do their uh, podcast, their
mm,
hobcast every week, and they sum it up really accurately that it's not easy to get the sales and to make a business out of this game. And I've got everything but admiration that they are doing what they're doing, and they've got
yeah,
some cracking authors.
yeah.
But I wouldn't swap places with them. But
No, never would I. I did work briefly for a publisher, and much as I enjoyed it's a baptism of fire, and that amount of pressure. It's a lot, especially when it's both of them. It's their whole business. So yeah,
yeah,
hats off. And
it's hard work. and power to Holbeck. Let's hope that they are successful. The amount they're putting in, they deserve to, and they've got some
Absolutely.
cracking options. So fingers crossed.
And you've got some very well. All of you are very happy authors to be working with them, which
Yeah,
must just be such a compliment to them and such a rare thing as well for
well, they
everybody to
work.
just be in this wonderful,
I
thing
think they work
together.
hard at that as well. I mean, they're coming up to Harrogate to the Noir. When I rang them and said, well, I sent them an email. Would you be interested in sponsoring the event? And sponsorship today is not easy. Most people
No.
are in the same financial problems that we all have. So, and they did. So they're part sponsored. The library's put some money in. The Harrogate Crime Series has put some money in. So we'll be able to pay something to everybody who's contributing to the event. And that's a big step for me. That's the first time we've ever been able to do it.
Mm.
And if we fill the place, and from looking at the tickets at the moment, we should do, then it encourages you to do another. If you don't get bums on seats, you decide it's not worth the effort. But credit to them, they're driving up, they're coming to get involved, they've involved themselves financially as well, and power to Holbeck.
Excuse
Oh,
me. Well,
didn't
that
know it
was
was.
attractive. Thank you. Sorry about that. Oh my word! Right, I'm going to have a sip
Well,
of
while you're
water.
recovering, just let me say a big congratulations to Liz Mystery, who's now Dr. Liz Mystery. And she got a
Amazing.
PhD, so she thinks she's going for her, what do they call it? Not presentation, is it? Whatever it's called.
Graduation.
That's the one I'm looking for. So she's going over there. I saw her lovely red nails on the internet today. So good luck, Liz, and
I'll go and have a look.
congratulations.
Good luck,
Well done,
Liz.
young lady.
How wonderful.
Yeah, special. That's another person whose works so hard. Not only in writing, but also in doing what she believes strongly in. And I think that's great.
I'm
Glad to
just
know,
getting,
Liz.
yeah,
Glad to know this.
getting more attractive by the second. It's too hot, and I'm coughing, and you're
You're
still
looking
sitting
great.
there just composed.
I'll just waft you down a bit. How's that? There
I just make myself warmer again.
we go.
Tony's asked, what made you choose Harrogate as the place to set your books? Because
um,
what a cracking setting. I
it's
mean,
a
you've got
beautiful,
so
isn't
much to work with.
Oh, well, you've got the Yorkshire Dales around as well. And well, I'd read that it was the happiest place in the UK to live. So I thought, well, introducing a bit of crime wouldn't go amiss. And now it's the fourth happiest place in the UK to live. So I'm winning. Yes. But it's just stunning. And it's in Yorkshire. What's not to like?
What is
And they have
not to like?
beer. And they have the crime festival. Um, an irony is, when I started writing it, I didn't know it did. I didn't know it had a festival, but I did.
Right.
Mm. It's funny what you find out.
Do you
And
have a
everybody
favourite
there has been really good.
location?
Pardon?
Favourite location from your Harrogate books? What is
Ram-
the
Ramsgill,
what's the tunnel called?
the Brunswick Tunnel, the
Oh,
new
that
tunnel.
place gives me nightmares, but it's great.
It's a wonderful. And I found out about that from a guy when I was on holiday. He said, "Did you know about the Brunswick Tunnel that runs under the Stray?" No. So when I came home, I researched it, and there it was, still there. Uh, so it was a
Terrifying.
perfect setting. But I think my best setting is the graveyard at St Mary's in Ramsgill. Because as a child, I used to go, and there was a gravestone that used to lean back slightly, and the wording on it was, "Remember me as you pass by,
I'm
as
sorry,
you
you've
are
just
now
broken up
so."
just as you started to explain that bit.
Did I?
Just as you
So it
started to
was.
say what was written on the gravestone.
Well, I'll tell you. I'll tell you again. Remember me as you pass by, as you are now, so once was I. As I am now, so you must be. Prepare yourself to follow me. And as a kid, I was fascinated by it, and I thought, well, I'll prop a body against it, um, um, as you do. But I did seek permission from the vicar, so he said, "Yeah, no problem."
Mm.
So it's stuck with me since I was a child. That saying, so I love it. So that's my favourite spot. It's not. It's in Harrogate, but it's in Ramsgate. And the new one in the new book, Housestein Gorge. If you've never been to Housestein Gorge with
I've not.
kids, brilliant, brilliant. Make the best bacon sandwich around. So
But
they
what
said,
do you have on your bacon sandwich? This is the
well,
question.
they said, do you want no butter, or do you want it dipping? And
What
I
is
said,
dipping?
what is dipping? My words ain't. Well, we put the bread in as we're frying the bacon. So it's like fried bread, really. It was
Right, okay.
absolutely stunning. So that was research, Sam. I was researching, so
Absolutely. It's very
I'll,
important research.
I'll go again.
What about see, now I have to ask, what about ketchup or brown sauce?
None, just
Now,
bacon.
if it was dipped, I probably wouldn't. But if it was buttered bread with bacon, brown sauce.
Right. That's Debbie's. We do bacon sandwiches every Sunday lunch, and mine are none. Debbie's has brown sauce.
I never
It's
understand ketchup on bacon. I
no,
don't
I
get it.
can't. No,
We asked the
but
most random questions. So I asked Mark Billingham. He had pizza and a debate about pizza at the end of his most recent book. Does pineapple belong on a pizza, Malcolm?
yes, it does. Hawaiian ham, pineapple, extra pineapple for Debbie.
Extra
Um,
pineapple for me.
and it's one of the culinary delights. It's it's I don't know. And what do you drink with it? Red wine,
Cup of tea.
cup of tea,
Oh no, I'm back to bacon butties there. What would you have with the
cup of.
Hawaiian pizza? Probably lager for me.
I'd have a red wine. I'll do what a Cyril Bennett would do. He would have a bottle of Alsace Gewürztraminer white wine, which is my favourite and Cyril's favourite. And strangely enough, I found a company that brings it from Val, which is between Munster and Colmar. And we used to stay in a house there, and the vineyard was just around the corner, so we used to buy the bottles. So be able to get that takes us back. And it's just lovely memories.
I like that. I like that a lot. Leslie says pizza and red wine is the law. I was just trying
Indeed.
to look on my phone who it was, so I'm scrolling, scrolling through the comments trying to update it. And
But somebody's put
also,
with you, Sam, brown
that's Leslie.
sauce. You're missing
Whereas
out with red
Tony's
sauce.
missing out with red. I'm not missing. I don't. I've not been able to eat red sauce for years. I think it was something that this is a bit random. I think it's something that I went off during my first pregnancy. I couldn't drink cups of tea for years, and I love cups of tea. Can't eat cornflakes. The thought of cornflakes or red sauce, no,
It's the
no.
crime writer in Tony that wants the red sauce dribbling from the bacon. That's what it is. Hi,
It would
Tony.
look rather more striking than brown sauce dribbling down somebody's face after they've been murdered.
It's usually on my shirt if I have brown sauce. That's the problem. Not a good
Pizza and red wine is the law. That's really funny. Can't really drink red wine. I'm not. I love it, but it doesn't like me. So I can maybe have half a glass of it before I get a headache. So I just
You
gave
just
up.
stick to your mug with your lager in it.
I know.
That's
I'm
cheers.
so classy, but it's definitely safer because you've all seen how clumsy I am. So there is
No,
no need to. There's no need to put a fancy wine glass in my hand. Somebody did send me some gorgeous stemless wine glasses, and I know people hate them because they get finger marks on them, but they're really beautiful. And it says dinner time on them. So I haven't used
dinner.
them yet because I'm scared.
Right.
Yeah, so like
Yes.
that's your food, the glass of wine. But I'm so
Well,
scared to use them because they're so beautiful, and I'm so clumsy. So I don't generally drop drinks though. Take from that
that's
what you will. With
that's
with
good
how much I
training.
love my
That's
books
good
and I knock
training.
them
That.
over. I know.
Don't spill them. Don't just drink them. Don't have to
So,
drink from it.
what are you working on? Have you started the next book in this
No,
the
I'm
Merseyside series?
I'm actually formatting um, the second box set of the Harry series because 1, 2, 3 are out,
Mhm.
and I wanted 4, 5, and 6 to come out because now I've got 12. That takes it halfway through the series, and that's really good for marketing
Yeah.
for me because I hopefully will be able to offer the first set on promotion as the second set comes out, and that gets people well into the series. So the books are written, so the formatting is straightforward. I think it's taken a few days, and that's ready. The book cover's done. Well, for the Amazon page, cover's done. So that should be out too. I'd like to run a deal with that if I can. So that's the business head is on, and then this comes out. Put it in front of your face, Malcolm. This comes out in August, um, and I hope people love that. And then it's book 3 of I was getting Skeeter Warlock back out of the cupboard, which is good. Great girl, great.
Excuse me. I keep trying to mute before I cough, but I don't always know I'm about to. So between us, we're a right pair today. Oh my word. I do remember, I know I've said this before, but for anybody who is watching who hasn't read your books, when I first bought my Kindle, and I did go back onto my Amazon account to see if I could find out exactly when I read the books, and I couldn't. It didn't show me. I don't know if it goes back that far, but before I was even a member of the group, I used to read your books on my Kindle. It was yours and Rachel Abbott's, and I just remember seeing Only the Dead, loving the cover. Obviously, I love the gorgeous smoke covers. They're really, they're really different, really interesting. But it was the army, the gas
The gas
mask,
mask, yeah.
and I remember being really drawn in by that. And obviously, I mean, what year did you write that book? It's a long time ago that I read it.
2016. That came out in no. The Bloodhound put 3 books out straight away, November and December, and I thought this is really bizarre. Who's going to buy 3? That weren't
Me,
really
one
you'd
after the
expect.
other. Yeah,
They did take off. I was amazed, and funnily enough, Sam, I was actually abroad for Christmas, so I was getting up at sort of 4 in the morning because I was so far behind time for it. So on publication day, I was waiting to pick up any social media comments. So I was sitting in this, what was an empty restaurant for the hotel, which had the best Wi-Fi signal to wait and then make the responses that I needed to make. So then from there, they signed me for 7 in the end. And when I put my name on the paper, I didn't think I could write 7. But when you're under pressure, it's amazing what you can do. And yeah, now we're on number 12. Who'd have thought it?
amazing. I just remember reading it and being so surprised by it because I think I was quite new to the, I was going to say adult crime, but you know what I mean, crime for grown-ups.
Yes.
Moving on from the Nancy Drew and all of the things that I read, the mystery books that I read as a child and the point horrors and all of that kind of stuff. Um, I'd not really read much crime, and I'd seen that, and I really wasn't sure. I'd bought the Kindle and wasn't sure what I was going to read. And I must have read, I think it was the first 4 books were already up on Kindle. And I read one, and I read the next one, and I read the next one, and I read the next one. And then I waited and pre ordered and read the next one as soon as it came out and kept doing that afterwards.
Very
But
kind.
even I've got some lovely signed books that you've sent me. But even then, I still read it on Kindle because I don't want to ruin my books. But I also want you to earn some money from having sent me a book in the first place. So I read them on the Kindle, so you're still getting the page views on Kindle Unlimited from the
Well, that's
Harrogate
kind.
series. And I have bought people books of yours over the years as well. So it's nice when you find an author whose books you just really resonate with you, and they're always so surprising. You can never really kind of tell what's about to happen, especially when you bring a hat pin and an underground tunnel into play. I mean,
Well, wait till you
yeah.
read the new one.
We've got less than 5 minutes left. Do you want to give everyone a quick recap of everything that they can go and
Yes.
buy? And
Well,
Holbeck, Adrian and Rebecca, if you're still watching, if you want to drop a link into Holbeck Books, just in the chat, that's absolutely fine. Then everyone can go and see all of your wonderful authors.
yeah, there's some great. It's a great website too for Hollingdrake, so you can go back, and if you want to listen back on the Hobcast, they're all still there, and yours truly's been on. But they've had some fantastic. Jason Dalgleish was interviewed by them as well, so there's a relevance there as well. So yeah, so the first book I ever wrote was Bridging the Gulf. Put it in front of your face. There we go. And it's really been it's never really sold in any sort of quantity. It seems to fall behind the Amazon shelves, but I love it.
I love it. It was one of my top 10 books of the year.
It was indeed. It was indeed, and I was grateful for that. And then there's the 12 of the Harrogate, and then 2 of the Merseyside, and a collection of short stories. One of those short stories was actually in Everyday Kindness, the piece of paper that changed a life. And it's writing short stories that you can do in 20 minutes or an hour, and I just love it completely.
And if people search that in the group, there is a reading of you reading the piece of paper that changed your life. There is a reading in the group, so if people want to search that, it is in there.
That's lovely, thank you. But it's been, and being involved with UK Crime Book Club has been special. And being invited to the Old Courts was the icing on the cake for me. To sit on the same settee as Paul Finch, I was all of a dither. I know Paul because he lives not too far from me, but he's just an inspiration, a wonderful, wonderful man. And he's been to, whenever I've asked him to do an hour event, he's always said yes. No problem. And Kathy's wife will love this.
Yeah, lovely.
And I met Mike before, and the Bridgestocks I know very well, and lovely people. So it's like a family. The crime writing groups are like family.
Yeah.
And I must say, that writing this, I needed a lot of help from Scene of Crimes officer, and I contacted Andy Barrett, and Andy.
You say Andy Barrett, and my face lights right
he's
up.
He's a wonderful fellow. Yes, I'll help. I can't just. Can I come back to you in a bit? Because he's got the kids and he's got a full-time family and he's writing and all of this business. But he always gets the stuff and if I were to look at the acknowledgements of this, I put, being a teacher, just bear with me a second. Big thank you to Andy Barrett for his work. Where is it? Oh, for Andy Barrett for his guidance with his Senko scenes. Now, Senko is not a soccer. It's a special education needs coordinator. So this is why I have my books produced to send out to beta readers, because when I see them in paper, I see the errors immediately, because I've been looking at a screen for so long.
Big difference.
I'm blind to the words. So getting this, immediately I saw, oh, there's one there as well. There's one there. So the beta readers have got there's only 12 of those in the world, and hopefully they'll bin them and then I'll send them a new one. But I will put one in the post when it's done, Sam.
Thank you very much. I'm always happy to buy the books, and I'm always happy to pay for the signed copies as well. But you never ever let me. But this is why I always you don't lose out, because I'll then buy them for other people. So
well, that's kind.
Yeah.
What's round comes round, as they say.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone who's joined in tonight and watched and commented and asked lovely questions and said really nice things. And thank you to you. I mean, we've done a few of these now, and then we've done an in-person one, and I didn't faint on stage. So
thank you, and to you. And thanks to the readers, and thanks to people taking the time just to spend it with us this evening. It makes it very special. Thank you very much.
Thank you.